Okay, I think we're going to get going. We have a full amount of people in here. Thank you so much for joining the next edition of our webinar, which is we're going to be talking about anti-seizes today. And as you know, if maybe you don't know, if this is your first one, welcome. But this has been a series of what we call quick demo series webinars. The focus of this is to get you information, get you in, learn about something, and get you out in under 30 minutes so that you can go on with the rest of your day and not waste a lot of time on webinars and all this stuff. So that is our intent for today, is to go on. We've actually had other webinars in the past over like thread lockers and different things, and those are all published, and we'll let you know how to access those at the end. But this is the next one, which is the anti-seize, and I believe, Morgan, we have one more, correct?
Yeah, we have one in 2 weeks on the 24th, and that one is going to be on our retaining compounds in our gaskets and sealants.
Fantastic. Okay, but all these are recorded, so you'll have the opportunity to really go out and watch these on your own time frame as well. So anyway, like I said, my name is Mark Porter. I'm the product manager for H.B. Fuller. I manage the GorillaPro product line. And Paula, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Paul Allibone. I'm one of the business development managers for H.B. Fuller, and I also support the GorillaPro MRO product line.
Outstanding. Morgan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Morgan Flynn, and I'm a marketing analyst here at H.B. Fuller. And like Mark and Paul, I also support the GorillaPro product line.
Yeah, Morgan is that person that handles all that website and marketing stuff and sales sheets and all that stuff. So she's our go-to person for anybody that needs that type of stuff done. Well, anyway, like we said, we realize your time is valuable, so we're getting right to the point with this. This does provide you the opportunity to click in, learn, and then click right back out. But this webinar today is going to be on anti-seize. And those would be the products that we have within our GorillaPro product line that are considered anti-seizes. And the whole focus of these webinars is to really give you an insight of what our products are, how they can benefit you, and really even some in-depth information that you can use in your shop if you're using these, maybe some insights as to how to use these products a little bit better. So if you have questions on this webinar, there is a button at the bottom that says chat, and you can just click on that button and type in your question. And at the very end of this webinar, Morgan will be taking those questions, and Paul and I will be hopefully answering your questions to the best of our ability. So I think that about wraps up all the housekeeping. Paul, are you ready to roll?
You betcha.
All right, let's jump in your car. What do you say?
Okay, it's all gassed up.
All right.
Welcome everybody. I'm Paul Allibone, one of the business development managers for the H.B. Fuller GorillaPro product line, and my colleague.
I'm Mark Porter, marketing manager with H.B. Fuller GorillaPro product line.
Today we're going to cover our anti-seize compounds section of our GorillaPro products portfolio. So I will cover both of our two products. We manufacture quite a few anti-seizes, but again, we've selected two of the most popular products for maintenance, repair, and facilities applications. An anti-seize is a compound with metal and then a carrier. And our products have not only a lot of metal content, but they're produced with metal flakes, and they're suspended in a thick lithium soap grease. They meet the ISO and the MIL. I believe the MIL is PR 97F, and that's the MIL spec accreditation for the anti-seizes. We have two products that we're offering under the Gorilla brand. The NSCU, that's our copper-based anti-seize, and that's this product right here. Sorry, this product right here. And then our NSNI, nickel-based anti-seize compound, which is this guy right here. So I'll show you a couple features and attributes of the product line and get you familiar with the quality of our products that we're making available to the MRO market. Starting off with the NSCU copper-based anti-seize. And you notice how heavy it is with metal content and how thick it is with the carrier. Now our products, or this product in particular, is manufactured with graphite and pure copper flakes. Mm-hmm. And the flakes, what they do is they line up on your parts to form like a coating or a barrier or an armor. You know, so the thick soap, the thick grease keeps the product on your parts, allows for great lubrication, but then the flakes line up to protect your parts.
Yeah, and if you compare that, Paul, to a lot of what you see out there in the world as far as anti-seize, you'll see anti-seize particles. And when you get that, you get ground up anti-seize, ground up particles. And what happens a lot of times is when they do that and they mix this with these greases, and you put that on the application and you get a lot of moisture or condensation or water, you get what's called water washout because there's no flakes laying on the surface. So the flake material in our product is an extreme, it's almost like a blanket or a coat. Exactly.
But you notice how heavy the product is. But the fact that it's got a grease, not just the oil, allows for very good penetration, a lot of conformability of the product in the joint where it's going to protect against corrosion the parts you're assembling. It's designed to give you great lubrication, so when you put parts together, it's easy to assemble. Then the rust and corrosion, the antioxidants that are in the chemistry of the grease stop rust and corrosion, and then on the way out when you're dismantling parts, the fact that it's protected with an anti-seize allows for very easy disassembly. Now for on-load or on-torquing of certain parts or certain fasteners, the anti-seize is part of the equation with that K factor that gives you the lubricated torque for proper installation of your threaded parts and things. But this is the NSCU.
Yeah, and Paul, in speaking with a lot of our the maintenance managers and people that do a lot of maintenance around facilities and such, one of probably the hardest tasks that they ever are faced with is when they're trying to take a piece of machinery together and it's literally, and no one used anti-seize to begin with, and it's literally unitized together because of rust, corrosion, and other factors on there, which basically means they have to do what? Cut it open and cut it apart and literally start from scratch. Very costly, very time consuming, as to where typically if they've used an anti-seize lubricant in the beginning in the first place, doesn't require a whole lot of effort to get those pieces and parts apart again. So
so you can see that there's no separation. There's a grease, not an oil, used in this compound. It's packaged in a plastic can, and the brush top reaches all the way down to the bottom, so you can fully evacuate all the contents. But it's a nicely put together package. The can does not rust, it's made of plastic, it's puncture resistant, and it's got the nice GorillaPro label. So the NSCU copper-based anti-seize is our go-to product. It's all-purpose, general purpose. It's the product you may want to look at first for protecting your parts. It operates at 1800 degrees Fahrenheit.
I was just going to ask you that.
You
read my mind.
Hey, that's starting to be a scary thing.
It is. We've been hanging out way too much.
And another unique feature of the copper-based anti-seize is that it dissipates heat. So copper is a great carrier, or thermal carrier, and if you have parts like a spark plug, for example, it takes the heat away from that compartment. If you have parts that are operating at a high temperature, it actually helps the operation value of that machinery by dissipating or acting as a heat sink for those types of applications. So that's our NS-CU copper-based anti-seize. And then the sister product is the NS-Ni nickel-based anti-seize compound. Again, with a thick lithium soap grease, but here you have the high temperature and high caustic compatibility or inertness of nickel to protect parts even above and beyond the copper. And again, you see a tremendous amount of metal material in the anti-seize. Again, no oil separation because you got that thick soap base. But here you've got that nickel protecting metal inside the compound. And this is designed for higher temperature applications. This is our premium performance anti-seize. So this product operates at 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you have applications in a steel mill or a blast furnace or a forge where your parts are in and around
oil refineries,
very high temperature applications and things like that, the nickel is the greatest or the best protector against corrosion for those environments.
Or corrosive materials. A lot of times in these plants you'll see a lot of corrosive chemicals being used, and it literally dissipates joints on applications, and this is the most repellent one that we have for that.
So caustic environments, environments where you might see anhydrous ammonia, you might see acetylene, you might see vinyl esters or vinyl plastic materials in not only petroleum, petrochemical, or plastics producing and things like that, but this will help protect those parts under those caustic type applications. So that's our premium performance product. So again, the two products that we have in the GorillaPro portfolio, the copper color, NSCU, and then the silver or the gray color, NS-Ni anti-seize.
All right, so now that you've seen these products in action and you've found a few that you want to purchase, all you have to do is go over to our website, and that website is GorillaPro.com to order these products. You'll see a button at the top right corner that says Products. If you click on that Products, it'll instantly pull down to several categories of our products, and you just choose the one that you want. And after that, you pull down, and you find the product that you want, and there is a menu down there of distributors that you can order that from. Once you find the distributor that you want to order that from, all you have to do is hit the Buy button, and that Buy button will take you right to the distributor location where you can very easily order that product. And also, if you're wanting more information about our products, such as technical information or anything further beyond what we've described today, that's easy as well. All you have to do is go up to our upper right corner and hit Resource button. That Resource button will actually pull you down to 3 boxes, and if you look at the left box, it says Downloads. Now Downloads will take you to all of our literature that we have, including technical data sheets, safety data sheets, cell sheets and stuff. And then you just choose the category you want. If you want a technical data sheet, you pull down, and then you find the category you want to have a technical data sheet on, pull it up, and there it is. And that will be saved. You can save that to electronic file format. You can email it, you can save it, you can print it, you can do whatever you want with that. So it's that easy. Thank you very much.
Thanks again for all your time and interest in tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this is a series of hopefully very informative, beneficial product segments on the GorillaPro product line.
And stay tuned. We'll actually have questions and answers right now. If you have questions, please let us know.
Thanks again.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Most importantly, I just want to make sure that if you have questions, we're going to answer these questions now. But if you have further questions, please use that email below. The GorillaPro at hbfuller.com is a email address that goes to myself and Morgan and Paul. And that is a fantastic source for. Let's say you have some further deeper technical questions that you need help with, or maybe you want to arrange a visit for a sample or something like that. Perfect venue to be able to do that, and we'll make sure that we get all the information or someone to you that can help you with that. So encourage you to use that along with the website. Right now on the screen, if you scan the picture, it'll take you to our website as well, where you can view all the products and pictures and resources and everything. So with that said, Morgan, let's start taking some of those questions. We'll try to get as many answered if possible up until the end of the hour. If we don't have enough time, it looks like we do have plenty of time. So we'll answer as many as we can. So Morgan, go ahead and fire away here.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We had a question come in during the webinar that asked which type would be recommended to use between an aluminum casting and a zinc-plated brass fitting.
I can answer that. I'd probably lead off with the NSCO, the copper-based anti-seize, kind of, all-purpose. Aluminum is a little softer. Well, actually, brass is fairly soft too, so they're fairly compatible. But it should do a nice job lubricating the joining and tightening of those parts. And then, like we were describing on the session, the metal flakes, the big graphite and the big copper flakes protect against corrosion of the parts. So I'd go with that. On a little bit of a sidebar, sometimes if you're working with a hard metal, like a stainless steel, you really need to use these anti-seizes to prevent galling when you're going into maybe a cast housing or going into a dissimilar softer metal and things. So it's really important.
Yeah, and one further thing on that too, and I don't know that we highlighted it as well as we could have maybe in the webinar, but the all of these anti-seizes first and foremost could literally be considered general purpose anti-seizes. I mean, you can use them in most applications. They just all have unique attributes between the nickel and the copper that make them better for maybe this application or most. But they all do three things. One is temperature resistance. They resist high temperature resistance. They resist seizing, which actually is a component of high temperature. And then the galling. Now the galling, where that comes in, actually, it goes away from more of the heat attribute of it, but it actually talks more about the lubrication part of it. And you do get, if you, I guess the best scenario is on, you've all heard of possibly of frozen pistons in cars. Well, what happens is the oil drops out of the car, excuse me, and the piston seizes up. What happens is it develops friction and so much heat that it literally just melts right in there. Well, it's that it needs to have that lubrication to continue to not build up heat. So the seizing and the galling work together on that. The more lubrication you have in some of those situations, the less friction that it causes, which basically means the lower amount of heat that it's going to generate, because it's that heat that causes all that trouble with the metals melting into each other and seizing up. But in this case, I just wanted to kind of clarify that, our copper-based anti-seize is really what we consider our go-to one in a no other way to say it, I guess. The one that you would use more on a daily basis for most applications. The nickel is a higher temperature resistance, although you're going from 1800 degrees to 2600 degrees. Rarely are you going to have an application, obviously that goes that high. You might but it really more boils down to what is that anti-seize going to do for you on that application between the seizing and the galling. So that's sort of the word on that. So the nickel is more of our specialty anti-seize for those corrosive environments like Paul was talking about, and the copper is more of our general purpose anti-seize. So.
Perfect, thank you. And then we have another question, and that one is, why should I be using an anti-seize on my parts rather than just grease to protect my parts that I'm working with?
Yeah, well, go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I'll answer that one. This is a, you know, kind of like a higher end solution for that application, because here, instead of grease, you know, you've got a grease carrier, this lithium soap grease, but the metal flakes, when they line up and stop the corrosion, they keep the grease in place on your parts. So if you're not using an anti-seize, which is a higher end protectant, you know, against corrosion and rust and things like that, you will get the grease to wash out. You know, so this actually forms a more long-term, higher end, better protecting barrier against corrosion and all that. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. And then another question we had was, why use anti-seize for torquing values?
Well, and again, there's like there's a formula for it, and it kind of gets complicated and things like that. But when you're installing fasteners and fittings and things like that, primarily fasteners, to get a proper on torque, there's a series of charts and things like that to give you best installation to load your parts for security. And compared to a dry torque, which has more variability, where you might have like fingerprints or some oil somewhere on the parts as received that you're not accounting for, if you use a anti-seize, it actually factors into that equation. So you're using the lubricated torque to get a proper installation and proper security of your parts. But it kind of gets kind of complicated. There's a whole book on it and stuff.
So through the K factor.
Yeah, the K factor. Yeah, that's part of the equation.
Awesome, thank you. And then this next question we had is, and I think it was explained a little bit, you know, in the webinar as well, but when should I use the NSCU or the NSNI in applications?
Okay, Mark, you want to answer that, or you want me to?
Yeah, I think I sort of went over it pretty thoroughly there a minute ago, but yeah, the CU is really more for you know, in a general purpose, more of your general purpose anti-seize, and the NI, and like I said, they can both be interchangeable. However, the NI is really more for higher temperatures and more corrosive environments. So you know, it handles, like Paul said, that the chemicals that can be used in some of those plants are horrible. And if you go into some of those plants, one of the biggest issues that they have are the corrosive joints and leakage because of the corrosiveness of the material that's moving through them. It just eats away at the joints and eats away at the seal. Anything that's trying to seal it out, it just eats away at it. So in those types of environments, the better off you are protected from those chemicals shooting through those pipes and stuff, the better off you are. And that nickel basically is much better component to combat those corrosive materials going through there. Paul, add on to that, Paul, whatever.
Yeah. Actually, you kind of summed it up. You know, the nickel-based product is more of a premium product for higher temperature and for more corrosive environments.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark and Paul. Those were all the questions that came in. If you, as Mark mentioned earlier, if you do have any further questions, whether it be on this webinar or other products that we have, feel free to email us at that email you see on your screen, GorillaPro@hbfuller.com. And also, as Mark mentioned, these webinar recordings are published on our YouTube channel. So all you have to do is just go to YouTube and type in Gorilla Pro. And we have 4 of them up right now. And this one will be up uploaded here in the next day or two. So be on the lookout for that, and feel free to share those videos with your friends, colleagues, and anyone else who's interested in the GorillaPro product line.
Thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate it. We do have another one of these. If you missed some of the information at 2 o'clock Central PM time, 2 p.m. Central time today. So you could register and attend that as well, and be looking for the other ones coming up. But other than that, have a fantastic day. Email us if you have a question, and we hope to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks much for your time.